in the last 20 years what they've done in the colleges with these, quote, speech codes, where you can't say a word to anyone about anything without being brought up on charges. And I think that is a frightening trend, because you're getting, you know, people in college, and it should be complete freedom of speech. And in fact, it's the exact opposite. I'd like you to comment on that.
Well, I think that's a much bigger problem than the day-to-day political problems that we face. Because once they tell kids whose job, when they go to college, they think they're there to expand their minds. And then, as Alan Bloom said, their minds are mechanically and intentionally and institutionally closed. And so then the Tea Party is filled with a bunch of aunts and uncles, average age probably about 62 at the Tea Party. And that is because the young kids are in the belief that they're part of the cultural vanguard. They believe that they're doing good for society by acquiescing to their professors' concept of what is appropriate speech and what isn't appropriate speech, and they've never heard of the First Amendment. They don't know what it means. It's a big problem. That's why I want to start big education. But the problem with politics is, and I've had this problem for a long time, and I get a lot of politicians who call me from Washington, heavy-duty congressmen and senators who call me in and say, advise me, advise me. And when you tell them that the problem isn't a 2-year, 4-year, or 6-year political cycle type of, there isn't a 2-year, 4-year, or 6-year political solution to it, their eyes glaze over. And it's a generational situation. And Gramsci, the guy that I was talking about, the long march through the institutions, the only way to take Hollywood back is to have a long-term approach towards taking Hollywood back. And that means getting people in the capitalist world and the conservative world who have money, not to simply apply it to the political problems, but to become capitalists and make, if you really think that the movies suck, then make movies that don't. That you know, that's how it's done. They've made, same thing with academia. I mean, I just met with, 2 days ago at UCLA, I met with 4 conservative professors at UCLA, and I live at UCLA. So one is Professor Tim Grossclose, who just came out with a book on media bias called Left Turns, or Turns Left, I forget what it is, but where he scientifically went through and studied the institutional media bias and applied a number to where all the media were, and they were all distinctly left of center. That's going to take 20 or 30 years as well. And so it's going to take investment and a mindset that politics is, again, downstream from culture. That's how it's going to happen. It's going to take 20 or 30 years. We are a center-right nation. We are going to win the next election cycle. I know that. I think all of you know in your bones that this thing is going in that direction, and it's part of a continuum. And it's not because we have Hollywood on our side. We don't. It's not because we have the media on our side. We don't. And it's not because we have academia on our side. We don't. The culture is on their side. But we are a center-right country. So we have the numbers still, and we have the time to try and take it back. But we have to have a collective understanding that all, you know, that politics isn't everything. In fact, it's less important than the things that we disregard.